this session of the organization development and tools, we will be talking about the what are the different initiatives are there, and the three comprehensive models for the diagnosing the organization systems in OD, then the OD techniques to promote the change, technostructural interventions, human resource management interventions, organization development tools, case study, the research papers and references as usual. Now here when we are talking about the organization development initiatives, as we have talked about the 8 interventions already, and the main focus was on the human resources. Dear friends, we have to understand that is to bring any particular change, because the organization development is the bringing the change. So in this team building is becoming very important. Now you have to find out that is your one part which you are going to change, how it is affecting to your other parties there. So all affecting parties, they should be the team members. Unless and until you do not involve them, simple example is I would like to, for suppose an academic institute, you are going to change your library from the manual library to the technological library. Now here the head of the department and the finance and the other people will be definitely there, but important is this, that is the you are having this librarian also as a part of the team member. When you are having this librarian as a part of your team member, then this team building will be there. Now these interpersonal and the group processes approaches are very important, that is the relationships. Relationships are there between these all team members, and many times if the teams are not carefully designed, then in that case you will not be having that outcome which you are looking for. So to get this particular outcome, you are supposed to get group processes and approaches are very important, and to get this particular outcome you have to give the coaching also. So in case of these human research initiatives, it becomes very important, that is you are having the proper team building, interpersonal and group processes and the approaches you are incorporating. Similarly, the technostructural initiatives are there. These restructuring the organizations are such as the mergers and acquisition is there, then the flexible work design is there, and the downsizing and more is there. Downsizing already we have discussed into the details. So these mergers and acquisition and flexible work system that will be leading towards the technostructural initiatives are there. These organization transformation, cultural change, the strategic issues. These organization transformation, the cultural change, leadership development and the more are there. So these strategic changes will make you these initiatives are there. So and the human resource management will be there. So that is the employee engagement, performance management, succession planning and more. These will be the areas. Now we will also understand in detail this particular the organization development initiatives of the human resource technostructural initiatives, strategic and the human resource management is there. Now the human process initiatives that includes the team building and which requires, as I mentioned about the members of the team, that you have to select very carefully. So technostructural initiatives that includes the restructuring the organizations, for example the mergers and acquisition, flexible work design, which I have already talked in the previous slide is there. So all these 4 players which are these initiatives, they are required to be taken very carefully. Now the 3 comprehensive models for the diagnosing the organization system in OD is here when we talk about the organization level. Now input is there. So input, process and output will be there. So first we will talk about the organization level. So general environment is to be there. Now we have talked about the interventions. And interventions we have talked about, that is a communication, there is a need for the change is there. So you are creating a general environment is there. Now industry structure and the task environment, that is what are the different tasks are there and these tasks are to be communicated. So this will lead to the design components, that is a strategy, technology, structure and the culture is there. Human resource systems and measurement systems are there, and from this input to it will going to the outputs are there. So organization effectiveness, that is the performance, productivity, stakeholder and satisfaction is there. Now it becomes important, that is the you are making in the organization level the particular strategy, that what will be your strategy. Now the another nowadays is becoming more important, that is about the technology, and we are talking about already the structure of the organization, the changes will be there. As you will change the process system, so you have to change the people also. So, human resource system measurement system will be also there. When we go towards the group level, so it is the organization design will be there, and the design components will be goal clarity, task structure, team functions, group composition, and the group norms are there. Here we have to understand that is the in the process, because the people are working and they are going towards a change, and change will take a time, and therefore in that case the clarity is to be there. Many times there may be these stages where the team may feel that is the there is not possibility to achieve this particular change, and that time you have to make this particular process of the designing the components. See, then the outputs are there, and therefore when you are making the proper structure, making the team functioning effectively, naturally the team effectiveness will be there. So, quality of work life performance that will be improving. When we are talking about the individual level, so inputs will be the organization design, group design, and the personal characteristics are there. So, here the design components are, that is the task identity, skill variety, autonomy, task significance, and the feedback about the these results are there. So, this input will be giving the outputs, that is the individual effectiveness, job satisfaction, performance, absenteeism, personal development, and according to this academy to the innovator HR, we will find individual level, group level, and the organization level. So, in the individual level also it is becoming very important, that is whether persons are able to perform or not. So, organization design is there, that we have talked earlier, then the group design is there, and the personal characteristics. The individuals will make a lot of difference in the ODR change management is there. To whom you are selecting the change agent, and what are the characteristics are required to the change agent? It should be the goal oriented, visionary, realistic, and then he flexible. So, therefore, his planning for the process as a planner, he should be very efficient planner is there. And why he requires the flexible? Because the environmental factors, there will be the different environmental factors which will be affecting his planning, his goal. Now, that this OD is when there are the certain the requirements will be there to change, and then if the change agent is not flexible and rigid, then it will be very difficult to achieve the goal is there. So, many OD techniques are designed to make changes and to rephrase them. Now, these techniques can be used at the individual, group, and organization levels are there. The choice of technique is determined by the type of the changes there. So, therefore, changes to, as Levin's model I talked about, unfreeze, change, and rephrase is there. So, these techniques can be used at the individual, group, and organization levels, and the choice of the technique is determined by the type of the change. In general, the more revolutionary a change is, the more likely is an organization to use OD techniques at all three levels are there. So, counseling, sensitivity training, and the process consultation are the OD techniques directed at the changing the attitudes and behavior of the individuals, and different techniques are effective at the group and the organization levels are there. So, it is becoming these very important, that is the whatever these the counseling is there, that it can let the people understand, and then they will be uncomfortable. So, therefore, their sensitivity training is required. So, they can sensitize, that is for the future. I would like to talk about the computerization system into the banking organizations, and in that time the sensitivity training is becoming the very important to let them understand that is this technology upgradation will definitely expand the business, and these process consultations are the OD techniques at the attitudes and behavior of the individuals are there. Now, the OD techniques to promote change. So, first one is the counseling, sensitivity training, and the process consultation. The personalities of the individuals differ, and these differences lead individuals to interpret and react to the other people and events in a variety of ways. So, even though the personality cannot be changed significantly in the short run, people can be helped to understand that their own perceptions of a situation are not necessarily the correct or the only possible ones. So, people can also be helped to understand that they should learn to tolerate the differences in the perception and to embrace and accept the human diversity. So, counseling and sensitivity trainings are the techniques that organizations can use to help individuals to understand the nature of their own and other people's personalities, and to use the knowledge to improve their interactions with others. The highly motivated driven boss, for the example, must learn that his or her subordinates are not disloyal or lazy, or the are efficient with the personality problems, because they are content to go home at 5 o'clock and want an unchallenging job assignments are there. So, therefore, in this case here whenever we make the team and members and that there is a personality problem. So, therefore, they should feel that they are not making these particular challenges, rather than unchallenging the job assignments are there. So, sensitivity training is an intense type of the counseling, and the organization members who are perceived as having problems in dealing with others meet in a group with a trained facilitator to learn more about how they and other groups members view the world. So, group members are encouraged to be forthright about how they were in themselves and other group members, and through discussion they learn the degree to which the other perceive them in the similar or the different ways. Through examining these source of the differences in the perception, members of the group may reach a better understanding of the way others perceive them, and may learn how to deal more sensitivity with the others. This participation in sensitivity training is a very intense experience, because a person innermost through and the feeling are the brought to light and discussed in public, and this process makes many people very uncomfortable, or so certain ethical issues may be raised by an organization decision to send the difficult members for the sensitivity training in the hope that they will be learn more about themselves. Is a manager too directive, too demanding, or too suspicious of the subordinates? And does manager deliberately deprive the subordinates of the information to keep them the dependent? So, therefore, in the case this if the person the boss is too directive and too demanding, then they will are too suspicious, then it will be difficult. So, process consultation provides the answers to such questions. Process consultation bears a resemblance to the both counseling and the sensitivity training. A trained process consultant or the facilitator work closely with a manager on the job to help the manager improve his or her interaction with other group members. The outside consultants the group setting and can discover the interpersonal dynamics that are determining the quality of work relationship within a group. So, process consultation, sensitivity training and the counseling are just three of the many OD techniques that have been developed to help the individuals learn to change their attitudes and behave, so that they can function effectively both as individuals and in organizational members. Second is the intergroup training. So, in intergroup training takes place the team building one step further and uses it to improve the ways the different functions or the divisions work together. Its goal is to improve the organizational performance by focusing on a function or a division's joint activities and output. Cross functional coordination is especially important in re-engineering and total quality management. Intergroup training is an important OD technique that organizations can exploit to implement the change. A popular form of the intergroup training is called the organization mirroring, and OD techniques are designed to improve the effectiveness of the interdependent groups. So, organization mirroring is there. Suppose that two groups are in conflict, a simple need to learn more about each other, and one of the groups calls is a consultant to the improve intergroup cooperation. The consultant begins by interviewing the members of the both groups to understand how each group views the other, and to uncover the possible problems the groups are having with each other. The groups are then brought together in a training session, and the consultant tells them that is the goal of the session is to explore perception and relations in order to improve the work relationships. Then with the consultants leading the discussion, one group describes the its perceptions of what is happening and its problems, and the other group, while the other group sits and listens. And then the consultants reverse the situation, and hence the term organizational mirroring, and the group that was listening takes its turn discussing the performance and what is happening and is the problem, while the other group listens. total organizational interventions. A variety of the OD technique can be used at the organization level, promote the organization wide change. One is the organizational confrontation, meeting at this meeting all of the wide change. One is the organizational confrontation, and therefore in that case it need to confront the issues of whether the organization is effective meeting its goals. At the first stage of the process, again with the facilitation by a change agent, top management involves free and open discussion of the organization situation. Then the consultants divide the managers into groups of the 7 or 8, ensuring that the groups are as heterogeneous as possible and no bosses and the subordinates are the members of the same group, so as to encourage the free and frank discussion. The small groups report their findings to the total group, and the sorts of the problems that is confronting the organizations are categorized. Technostructural interventions refers to the change programs aimed at the technology and structure of the organization, and these are becoming increasingly relevant to the today's technological landscape with the rapidly changing markets. So organizational structure designs, the functional structure of the organization is key to how it will operate, and you are likely familiar with the classical hierarchical organization chart, and this is referred to as the functional structure. Other structures are divisional, matrix, process, customer centric and network. Key activities in organization design as the re-engineering and downsizing, that involves the rethinking the way work is done and preparing the organization and restructuring it around the new business processes. Total quality management is also known as the continuous process improvement. Learn and the Six Sigma, it grew out of the manufacturing emphasis on the quality control. It places the customer satisfaction as central to the long term success of an organization. To achieve this, there is a strong focus on the total employees involvement in the continuous improvement of the products, process and workplace culture. Companies such as these car manufacturers, Toyota, and the phone manufacturers, Motorola, use this intervention. So, work design will work should be done in order to achieve the outcomes, and these outcomes vary across the organization. Work can be designed to achieve an outcome as quickly possible. So, on the emphasis may be placed on the employee satisfaction, which can lead to a higher quality of the outcome, but often this is more costly. So, depending on which approach your organization chooses, the skills needed will be different. Designing and work in a way that leads to the optimum productivity is called the work design is there. So, technostructural interventions are there, and here we will find out that is the structure, that is a skill variety, task variety, and task significance, autonomy, feedback, and the job is there. So, here we find out that is the how, that is job discussions, the diagnostic profile is for a good and bad job is there. Now, here we find out for job B. And low, moderate and high. So, job B, the skill variety is low, while in the case of the task significance is very high. So, therefore, in that case we will find out that is this is leading to the autonomy. Autonomy is there, and this autonomy is low, and feedback from the job is this for the job B. But for the job A, the skill variety and that is highest, and the task identity is low, while in case of the autonomy is also high, and the feedback from the job is there. So, job enrichment is a part of work design. The goal here is to create a job that is interesting and the challenging for the person doing. Example of the factors to be taken into account are the skill variety, task identity, autonomy, and the feedback is there. And here these are giving you, that is for the job A, it is a better performance is there. So, human resource management interventions inquires that focus on the individual is managed. The many of these are the part of these HRM functions. So, first we will talk about the performance management. So, good performance management includes the techniques such as the goal settings, performance appraisal, and the reward system is there. And nowadays we talk about that is a 720 degree of the performance appraisal system, where the all stakeholders are involved in appraising an employee. It is not only the subordinate and superior, but it is also the customers are involved, suppliers are involved, the colleagues are peers are involved, subordinates are involved. So, therefore, in that case you will find that is this is becoming the 720 degree is there, and here if your performance management system is better, then in that case you can also identify the potential of employee, and when you identify the potential of the employee, you can make him the work on his area of interest and where he can do the best. So, developing the talent, and this includes the talent management practices like the coaching and the mentoring is there. So, here talent acquisition and talent management, the other subject which I have already running on this platform. So, therefore, in that case NPTEL platform. So, here you will find that is this is the mentoring, career planning and the development interventions are there. So, how to manage the talent and here you will find that is this is making the leadership development. So, this diversify intervention is a source of innovation that includes the age, gender, race, sexual orientation, disabilities and the culture and the value orientation, and these OD interventions techniques are aimed at the increasing diversity is there. Now, here we can also find out that is the wellness interventions. So, employee wellness interventions include stress management programs and the employee assistance programs and they address the social factors and aim for a healthy work life balance is there. So, here we find out that is these organization development tools are to be used for when we are making about this development. So, OD tool is a planted set of the assessment that provides HR with the quantitative and qualitative data to drive the change, organizational development and the self awareness, and this provide for the analytic functions that will help HR and senior managers to check the pulses of the organizations and their teams are there. Now, these OD map the next generation organizational diagnostic employee engagement and these opinion survey. It measures the intangible soft factors that that are the vital to the organization. Anonymous survey that captures the quantifiable data. It is being designed to facilitate change and the proper improvements in the workplace using statistical data that will pinpoint what your organization needs to address. Now, in this point it has been mentioned about this the quantitative data, but I will like to support that is you can have the interviews also and you can develop the case studies also. You can find out what are the opinions of the people, those who are involved in this particular change, and as a OD map organizational effectiveness survey, you can with the quantitative and qualitative data you can suggest what are the organization need is there and where what are the different areas where these changes are to be made. In assesses the organizational health form and the factors employee engagement, trust in leadership, talent management practices, immediate supervisor, team spirit, the job itself, management excellence and the overall score are there, and from these factors you can find out that is the what is the need for this making the effective change. So, ODMAP is based on the John Gibbons most comprehensive study on employees engagement and gain insights from the employee feedback that is identify the bottlenecks and the implement the improvements are there. So, engage and retain the talent better. So, enhance leadership and the company culture, improve your business performance, have a pulse check on your organization's values, questions can be contextualized. Your organization's purpose is how well what is been be the truncated the downstreams are there. Second important factor tool is that is about the leadership core 360. It is a multi-rated assessment program. It includes the respondents who are your direct reports, peers, superiors and your own self rating. The report that is the I have mentioned about the 720. Here it is talked about the 360. Here they are internals have been taken. So, therefore, the peers, superiors and the self and this team has been taken into consideration. In 720 degree what we do, that is we are involving these our customers, external stakeholders, customers, suppliers and all. So, the report is generated encompasses of the 7 leadership competencies. It provides an overview of your 5 strengths and the top 3 improvement needs. Your score tabulated against the respondents is compared to demystify the instances of the high self perception scores. So, it allows you to get the feedback from the up to the 8 colleagues, your direct reports, peers and the superiors are there. So, this gain insights from this feedback of your team will be giving you, that is how it is to be developed. So, leadership core will be happening, identify the leadership competencies that you need to develop. As I mentioned, that is in the performance appraisal system, you are also able to identify the potential of the leaders, and that is whether a person will be able to leader or not. So, the result measures the 7 leadership competencies such as sharing the vision, influence, team building, supporting others, innovation, delivering results, and the business acumen. So, business centric that measures business results, and the business acumen is there, and this provides further developmental suggestions building on your strengths and analyzing your weaknesses are there. The third audit tool that is the motivation, the questionnaire is there. So, the audit tool motivation questionnaire is designed to increase the self awareness of your intrinsic and extrinsic motivation at work. So, most important motivation is the intrinsic motivation is there. So, it helps individuals to clarify their values and priorities, and it helps employees better retain and motivate their employees. So, based on the 15 work related needs called the motivational factors, the questionnaire outline is comprehensive: job motivation, job satisfaction, profile for the each participant, and then the matching, the personality job fit is there, whether if this is a particular type of the personality, then what type of this job will be suitable, that is the Holland's model is there, and each participant and enables companies to proactively retain their key talent is there. Now, the measurement of these motivation based on 4 hygiene factors: self actualization needs, self esteem, social needs, and security. So, provide for the self awareness measures, 15 work related needs are there. So, identify the intrinsic and extrinsic drivers which are motivating the health motivators management, that is centered physical, mental, and the social well being, and provides a report on your stress level and your burnout risk. This provides for the lesser targeted practical suggestions for the respondents are there. So, trait map personality is defined by the trait maps are preferred are the habitual tendencies in one's thinking, feeling, and the behavior resulting from the unique composition of underlying traits. By better understanding the personality tendencies of the employees, organizations can optimize the job fit and the employee development. Trait map is a combination of the greatest single breakthrough in personality psychology, the Big 5 model, and the latest trends in the questionnaire design is there. So, organization development tools are the fast and the accurate, and this trait map uses an innovative first choice the questionnaire format that takes about the 15 to 20 minutes to complete, and yet you get a detailed personality profile of these consisting 25 traits. The personality model is based on the Big 5 model, which is the most widely accepted personality framework since the 1990s. So, it measures the 25 work related personality tendencies, 5 traits in each one of the Big 5 dimensions, provides for an accurate overview of our personality profile and the work attributes. Your leadership style and how to optimize your strengths are detailed the report, and the highly accurate and used for the recruitment and selection, talent management, and the development is there. And the fourth one is the mental health. So, health means the work originates from the realization that the employee health and the organizational performance are highly interconnected. An obvious connection should be, for the example, that the healthy employees tend to be more productive than employees. So, who often takes the sick leave, but the connection runs much deeper as we find out that is a suboptimal inefficiency process not only makes the organization less efficient and less profitable, but also increases the employee stress. So, we owe it our employees to make sure they patiently thrive in the work they do. So, mental health risk assessment according to the ISO 1075, health meets work is an anonymous that is a survey which consists of the 86 questionnaire items, and it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to complete. The value of health meets work lies in its highly applicable intuitive reports, and the advanced organization modeling and analytic functions are there. This is a case study which you can refer for your the further references, and here you find out that is the how you can go for these particular changes, and the personalities are changes, and these personalities that learn that can we make the changes in the way they made the decisions of a particular individual called the Nike, and in what way could Nike use these change techniques discussed in the chapter to improve the effectiveness and the competitive advantages are there. This is the research paper, The Power of the Strategic Communication and the Organization Development, and this studies the purpose is to describe and reflect on the strategic communication and its relevance for the organization development and the service chances are there. Now, this is the book recommendation, that is the leadership skills for managers, extraordinary leadership skills for the managers, effective team management for the organization development by the Ginger Greenwood. I am sure that this will be book will be also help you to understand that is how the leadership and the business that is the guide will be there to managers avoid the problems and instead of leading there is a space for the people skills that you to take up the mental and open new doors to success is there. These are the references which you can refer for your further studies. I am sure that will give you the more understanding how to make the organization development. Thank you.